Hello everyone, welcome back to the program. Today is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, and we have breaking news emerging from West Africa, a situation that demands our immediate attention. The nation of Ivory Coast is currently in turmoil. A military coup is actively underway, throwing the country into uncertainty. Soldiers have effectively taken control of key strategic points, and the political situation is extremely unstable, teetering on the brink. The capital city, Abidjan, is undeniably at the very center of this unfolding chaos. Tension is palpable everywhere. The city feels paralyzed, gripped by fear and uncertainty. Massive demonstrations have erupted across Abidjan, fueled by anger and desperation. Protesters have blocked major roads with makeshift barricades, making movement nearly impossible for both residents and emergency services. Reliable information is incredibly hard to come by. Communication lines are significantly disrupted, and access to the internet is severely restricted, cutting off vital connections. TV broadcasts are heavily limited, offering little clarity, and authentic videos emerging from the ground are exceedingly rare, making verification difficult. It's almost a total news blackout, leaving the world in the dark about the true situation. Both journalists and ordinary citizens are struggling to piece together a coherent picture of exactly what's happening on the ground. The atmosphere is incredibly tense, deeply uncertain, and undeniably dangerous for everyone involved. People are desperate for reliable answers and a sense of what the future holds. The world is watching with bated breath, but verified details remain frustratingly scarce. The situation on the ground is changing dramatically by the hour. It's like trying to solve a complex puzzle in near total darkness, a daunting task. The stakes simply couldn't be any higher for the people of Ivory Coast. The country stands at a critical crossroads, facing a pivotal moment in its history. The next few days will undoubtedly be absolutely critical in determining the nation's future. Will order and stability be successfully restored, or will the existing chaos deepen, potentially leading to further instability? The entire world waits anxiously for clarity and resolution. For now, all eyes are firmly fixed on the unfolding events in Ivory Coast. We'll continue to keep you updated with the very latest information as it comes in. Stay tuned as we break down exactly what's happening on the ground, why this situation truly matters on a global scale, and what potential scenarios could unfold in the days and weeks ahead. Let's try to make sense of this complex situation together, providing context and analysis. This is a developing story that has the potential to significantly reshape the entire region. Let's dive right in and explore the complexities of this unfolding crisis. Let's delve into the complex reactions of the Ivorian people to this unfolding situation. You might expect widespread outrage at a military coup, a universal condemnation of the soldiers' actions, but the reality on the ground is far more nuanced and complicated than a simple condemnation. Surprisingly, many Ivorians are actually openly supporting the military's intervention. Crowds are out in force, with some even enthusiastically cheering the soldiers as they pass by. Why is this happening? The answer lies in the deep-seated frustration with President Alassane Ouattara and his administration. Accusations of widespread corruption and perceived mismanagement of the country's resources have dogged his long rule, fueling public discontent. He's been in power for about 15 years now, a long time in the often turbulent world of politics. Many people are simply tired of the status quo, of the way things have been. They are yearning for real, meaningful change that will improve their lives. For some, the military is seen as a possible, albeit risky, solution to the country's problems. The anger and frustration have been simmering beneath the surface for years, and now, with this coup, it's finally boiling over into open unrest. The demand for change from the Ivorian people is loud, clear, and undeniable. But this unrest and the hope for change come at a tragic and devastating cost. Initial reports indicate that at least 33 precious lives have been lost during the course of these demonstrations and the ensuing violence. These are not just cold, impersonal numbers on a page. These are real lives, each with its own story, lost in the struggle for a better future for Ivory Coast. The desire for change is undeniably powerful and deeply felt, but the price being paid for it is tragically high. The atmosphere in the city is incredibly tense, and emotions are running dangerously high on all sides of the conflict. The military's next moves and decisions will be absolutely crucial in determining what happens next. Will they manage to bring stability and order, or will their actions lead to even more chaos and bloodshed? The hopes of the people and their deepest fears are on full and painful display for all to see. The entire world is watching closely to see how this situation ultimately unfolds. The outcome of this coup and its aftermath could very well shape the future of Ivory Coast for many years to come. For now, the streets of Abidjan and other cities belong to the people and to the soldiers who now patrol them. The president's political future hangs precariously in the balance, uncertain at best. The nation stands at a critical turning point in its history. The cost of this potential change is already tragically steep, as we've seen. Our thoughts and deepest sympathies are with all those who have been affected by this crisis. Let's continue to watch closely and see what happens next in this unfolding drama. The ground situation is volatile, a powder keg ready to ignite at any moment. The air is thick with anticipation and fear, and rumors are everywhere, spreading like wildfire through the population. Tensions spiked dramatically after a military officer was killed in a mysterious incident, fueling more anger and violence on the streets of Abidjan. The cycle of unrest is intensifying, threatening to spiral out of control. Amid the chaos and confusion, nobody knows what's happened to President Ouattara. His whereabouts are a complete mystery. Conflicting reports swirl, each more outlandish than the last. Some say he's fled the country, seeking refuge elsewhere. Others claim he's been detained by mutinous soldiers, or worse, that something far more sinister has occurred. The uncertainty is paralyzing for citizens who are gripped by fear and anxiety. People are desperate for reliable information to pierce through the fog of war, but clarity is hard to find amidst the chaos and misinformation. Rumors of the president's fate are everywhere, whispered in hushed tones and amplified on social media, each with huge implications for the future of Ivory Coast. Is he alive and well? Has he escaped the country to seek safety abroad, or is he under arrest, held captive by those who seek to overthrow his government? The answers matter deeply for the country's future trajectory. The region's stability hangs precariously in the balance, dependent on what happens next. The fog of confusion is thick, obscuring the truth from view. Disinformation spreads quickly and easily, clouding the judgment of many, making it incredibly hard to discern what's real from what's fabricated. The truth is often the first casualty in times like these, lost in the noise and the fury. Citizens are left in suspense, anxiously awaiting any news that might shed light on the situation, not knowing who's truly in charge or what tomorrow will bring for their families and their country. The uncertainty is a heavy burden, weighing down the spirits of the Ivorian people. The military's intentions remain shrouded in secrecy, adding to the atmosphere of unease. Will they step forward and announce a new leader to fill the power vacuum? Will there be negotiations between the various factions vying for control? The world is waiting with bated breath for answers to these critical questions. For now, the streets are tense and heavily guarded, and the rumors relentless, fueling further speculation and anxiety. The president's fate remains the biggest question mark hanging over Ivory Coast. The next official announcement could change everything in an instant. Until then, the nation holds its breath, suspended in a state of anxious anticipation. The stakes are enormous, with the future of the country hanging in the balance. The future is deeply uncertain, shrouded in a veil of doubt and apprehension. We'll keep watching closely, bringing you the latest updates as this story unfolds. Beyond the chaos, accusations of foreign interference are flying. President Ouattara and his French wife are accused of collaborating with France and other European powers. These claims stir up old wounds about colonialism and sovereignty. Many Ivorians resent the idea of foreign influence, especially from former colonial rulers. The anger isn't just political, it's personal and historical. Meanwhile, poverty remains a huge issue. Ivory Coast is rich in resources: gold, petroleum, coffee, magnesium, iron, yet most citizens see little benefit from this wealth. The disconnect between national riches and daily hardship fuels frustration. People demand that the country's resources benefit everyone, not just elites or outsiders. Economic justice is a core demand. The calls for change are growing louder. The crisis is about more than politics. It's about dignity and survival. This isn't Ivory Coast's first brush with turmoil. Military coups and instability have marked its history. The first major coup was in December 1999, setting a precedent for military intervention. The early 2000s saw civil war and more unrest. Even when coups failed, instability lingered. The military has always been a powerful force. In 2017, army mutinies over pay showed the military's ongoing influence. This latest coup fits a pattern of political fragility. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Understanding the past helps explain today's crisis. The cycle of coups and unrest is hard to break. Each episode leaves scars and lessons. The nation's future depends on learning from its history. Will this time be different? This crisis is part of a bigger regional picture. Neighboring Burkina Faso, led by Captain Ibrahim Traoré, also came to power via a coup. Tensions between Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso have been rising. Ouattara is seen as opposing Traoré's government. Accusations of interference and plots have strained relations. In April, Burkina Faso accused Ivorian elements of plotting against Traoré. Diplomatic ties have suffered, with embassies recalled and harsh words exchanged. The instability in one country affects the other. Regional dynamics make the crisis even more complex. This isn't just a local issue, it's a West African challenge. So what happens now? The situation is tense and unpredictable. Will the military hold power or will there be pushback? International reactions and the will of the people will shape what comes next. History shows coups can lead to more instability, or sometimes to change. What's your take? Is this a step forward or a dangerous slide? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss respectfully and thoughtfully. Thanks for tuning in and staying informed. Our thoughts are with everyone affected in Ivory Coast. We hope for peace and a brighter future. Stay safe and see you next time.